Oh, hello, and welcome to Note of Today's Decay, where we celebrate births and beginnings of everything important since the dawn of time. And what happened today? June 20th. Let's hit it, shall we? Today, in 1904, Myrtle Douglas was born, who was one of early science fiction fandom's biggest fans, biggest supporters, biggest contributors from a fandom standpoint. She was a good deal or a number of original science fiction fandom, which started off before World War II, really embraced H.G. Wells's opinion that a utopian society could be achieved, that the horrors of World War I were never going to be repeated again, ever, because humanity had learned its lesson. Rather, we could just be one giant world, government, society, language, which in part was this particular group's interest and embrace in Esperanto, was the hopeful opinion that humanity could peacefully exist with each other, which obviously we all know is not the case. But Myrtle Douglas took on the name Morojo. That was her Esperanto name. She invented, perhaps co-invented, cosplay, where her and her then partner at the time, Forrest J. Ackerman, wore the Shape of Things to Come uniforms from the 1939 film, or 30s film, to the 1939 World's Fair and the first World Science Fiction Convention held here in New York City. She was the one who actually sewed those costumes. Now, who came up with the idea is a good question that I don't know. I'd like to investigate it further, but I'm not certain. But without a doubt, she's actively a part of what early science fiction fandom was about. The two of them, Forey and Morojo, together made a series of fanzines together very early on. One is called Voice of the Imagination, and it's got really great hand drawings and, is that mimeograph paper? I forget what that exact type of paper type is, but there's just something really, much like what I'm doing right now, there's something really just tactile about it that I really appreciate. Textures, and there's just the aesthetic of that early science fiction fandom, which extends into like the 50s, 60s, and even 70s homemade zines for like the fan addict, easy comic related stuff. It's a similar content or similar process. Anyway, Myrtle Douglas, born today, 1904. I feel like, well, I love Forey. He always gets name checked as like the father of cosplay. And you know what? That's true. But there's Myrtle Douglas in this picture as well. And especially on her birthday. But on all your days, I think it's important to keep Morojo in your mind. What else? 1928, today, the film Lonesome premiered. This is I was saying earlier today, I happen to love heartbreaking movies or heartbreaking stories, like sad stories do it for me. And this is one of them. Shot in Coney Island. I'm going to say this film was greenlit because of the success of King Vidor's film The Crowd, made maybe like a year earlier, also in Coney Island, or in part in Coney Island. This is Paul Friho is the director, and it tells the tale of just a writhing sea of New Yorkers busy about their day-to-day, going to work, living their lives, being surrounded by other similar people, just very busy with all of their chores and responsibilities, and yet so many of them are so, as the title suggests, lonesome, and don't really make any connections with anybody, even though they're like living right next to each other and, you know, in this like giant apartment complexes. So two of them decide independently to take a trip down to Coney Island and enjoy the amusement parks and beaches and everything that Coney Island has to offer. And they wind up meeting each other and have a great time and really hit it off. And then in the midst of the writhing hordes of, you know, Coney Island beachgoers, they get separated and realize that neither one of them asked for the other one's last name or phone number or address or anything like that, and spend the rest of the film all in Coney Island trying to like get around to just find each other again. It's a great concept, and it's a really well done film. Of the two, The Crowd to me is like the more far-sweeping, emotional roller coaster. Not the Cyclone per se, but Lonesome is an excellent film, and you should definitely see it. On the day it premiered, 1928. Lazy Lester, born today, 1933. I'm a lover, not a fighter, as was Lazy Lester, as were probably plenty of us. It's one of his best songs, in my humble opinion. Plenty of people have covered it. Batmobile, for instance, who I'll be seeing shortly, and I'm very much looking forward to it. What else? Kid Thomas, born today, 1934. Great rhythm and blues rock and roll performer. Drew Redmond told me the story. Maybe this is in Kicks magazine. I forget where Drew got it from. But the story goes, as Drew told me, Kid Thomas, I guess, retired or just stopped the music industry lifestyle at some point and got into gardening or like lawn care, and so, you know, unfortunately wound up striking and killing a child while in his lawn. I'm not sure what sort of vehicle he was in, but was like, this was a, like, you know, landscaping vehicle. Wound up unfortunately killing a child in it, and then went to trial for it, and they decided he was not guilty. And then the father of the child on the courthouse steps was waiting for him outside, where he shot and killed him right out in the open upon leaving the courthouse on the steps. Crazy, right? Yeah. He at least left quite a legacy and wonderful music for us to remember him by. But brutal, I know. Sorry. What else? Susan the Banshees played their first gig today in 1976. This is obviously not the Susan the Banshees that the majority of us are familiar with. This is the version with Sid Vicious on drums. Marco Perrone. Who else is in the band at this point? I forget. But it's not the Susan the Banshees that we know. It's just like a jam band that gets up and does the Lord's Prayer for 15, 20 minutes and goes on their way. But still, the beginning, Susan the Banshees was really today, June 20th, 1976. So that's the whole damn day. I am going to go back to focusing on flyer making here. I got rid of Adobe Premiere or Photoshop rather, because like it's just so expensive and who needs it? And there's something really nice about making flyers, so we should all get off of technology. I say to technology. I think it's cathartic, as is sometimes doing these videos. That's it. The whole day, June 20th, from me to you. Till tomorrow. Goodbye.